Yeah, we're here live with Chuck Mantooth at the Drum House. Chuck, it's a real pleasure to be doing this interview with you. I'm really glad that you were able to find a time from your busy schedule. I know you have a lot of gardening going on, a lot of music. What is your feel about the two mixed up together? I mean, what does that help you? Does that help your songwriting?
Well, first of all, let me say that
Thank you very much.
yeah,
Okay, good night. No,
yeah,
I'm just kidding. All right, no, we don't need that microphone.
it's nice to be here. Glad I could make it. I've been in the garden all day, and yeah, they kind of go hand in hand. I wrote one song called "Shades of Black and Green" out of the garden one night about 2 o'clock, a little bitty sliver moon. And
I
that's
heard
what,
the recording of that. That was pretty. That wasn't just you on acoustic guitar. That was a whole. You had a whole band doing that.
yeah, Larry Krisner helped me on it, and we had Roger Mayer playing the drums, and
Was there?
it was really
Was Brandon Gibson there that night?
they were smooth. Brandon couldn't make it that
I
night.
don't
He
remember
was
that.
there were just three of us,
That's right. Yeah.
but it sounded like a whole orchestra.
And that was a really well done song. Let me before I get to the heart of before I get to the heart of your songs. A lot of the musicians locally and non-locally all say that all your songs sound the same. They evidently don't know the heart behind the songs. It's the music, was whether it's a G, D, and C song or whether it's a C, D, and G song. It's a comfort zone to you, and I've heard a couple of your songs on CDs and cassette tapes and 78 speed songs and 45s and LPs and EPs and QPs, and they sound really exciting when there's a full band behind them. So do people miss that, or do they still think it's like a three-chord song or something? Or
Yeah, they kind of miss it, and a lot of it they don't understand. But if they listen a few times, they'll understand that it applies to almost every
maybe they're
small
just
town boy's life.
yeah, maybe they're just listening to the acoustic version instead of the live version or
Yeah,
something.
that,
But all your songs seem to have
nobody listens.
oh, they yeah, sure they listen. Um, the words behind your songs are very compelling. As I said in an interview with Chuck Mantooth, do you know him? A long time ago.
I ran into him one time, uh, face to face.
And your
It was
lyrics
almost like looking
are
in the mirror.
your lyrics were compelling enough to draw attention to real life stories that, of course, that you know about because you pretty much lived those stories, but they fit in a lot of people's shoes. I mean, it's maybe there's or people are afraid to look at themselves. You think?
Well, yeah, and I've always had a little bit of inferiority complex, which I think everybody's got that inside them, and they try to cover it up a lot. That's the reason I wrote "Scenes out of Place." But
That was a very good song. You got a lot of good feedback on that from the national organization, didn't you?
I did, and everybody wants me to come and record it in their studio, and I just,
That's
but
a
nobody
studio.
ever really says when.
That's a studio 7 strings or something in Lawton, isn't it?
Seven strings. Yeah, you need to patronize them guys. Those are
Oh, they're
pretty
good. They do some good stuff.
Well, I turned 59 just the other day.
Oh,
It's kind of funny how time slips away and everything changes kind of slowly if you look around.
right, right, right. So most of your songs then are about true life situations that um, I'm sure that you can relate to all of them, and some people can relate to most of them. How do you feel about the small town feel? Uh, going on tour with like a full orchestrated orchestra. You think that would be too much, or do you think it would still be able to get the message of the songs across as
Well, I'm pretty simple. I like pretty simple, plain stuff, and all my songs starts out pretty simple, and by the time we get finished playing them, they turn pretty complicated.
And your sax player really throws in a real good. I think I've heard a couple of the videos and saw them and listened to them.
I've heard him
He has
described as sexy.
Yeah, very saxy,
Very
very
sexy.
saxy, and it has the feel of your song. It just brings out the heart in it, and I think that has a lot to do with
It does. It does.
gathering the right sounds,
It
and
does have a feel good.
sometimes you have a piano song. I heard a song, Soda Pop and Lyrica, with
I wrote the Soda
piano
Pop
song,
and
yeah.
Lyrica. They asked me to come down and play for the 4th of July down at the celebration at Sterling. And so a couple of days before that, I wrote this song about how people like to gather around when the stuff's happening. They like to gather around and come to town and have a good time. And it just hit me that everybody's addicted to something. Maybe it's Lyrica prescribed from the doctor for fibromyalgia or neuropathy or whatever, and then everybody's addicted to sodas, and it just kind of a feel good, goofy little funny.
Well, how did
song.
your songs start? When did you start writing songs, and how did they transpire? Were you just like, do you just see the world in a different view, like on the outside of the world looking into it, and you'll see your hometown and write about those things that happen in there? And when did you start playing guitar and doing these things? It must have been a long time ago.
Well,
You've got several hundred songs.
I started writing songs about 7 or 8 years ago, and Dwayne Workman had a little barbecue place down there where the oil change shop is now in Elgin, and he asked if I wanted to come down there and play a bunch of my songs. Well, it was really strange because one night I come down there, and about the 3rd week I was there, and there was about 10 other guys showed up with guitars. And then I met this guy named, my name's Larry. I met this guy named Larry.
Oh, so he was playing, but you were kind of shy at that time, weren't you?
I was real
playing
shy,
in front of
and
other
I was
people
trying
and
to
stuff.
sing, and I was nervous as a snail on a razor blade. And
would that be like the snail would be cruising along the razor blade, but he would be nervous about cutting himself? Is that?
Yeah, I was real inferiority complex. I've always had it, always will have. I stay in the shadows of the night. But I met these guys, and I was playing and singing this song, and I heard some real fancy picking, and I looked back, and there was this guy named Larry Krisner, and
So
we met that night, and we've been.
Did that help your
No,
what was that word?
It didn't help at first. It took a long time. They started sticking a mic in front of my face and telling me to belt it out, and I felt intimidated. And I guess everybody feels that right at first. Getting over that microphone is really a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's a little different at first. So when did you actually start playing guitar? Did you start writing when you first started playing guitar and you start writing songs? Were you singing songs from your past, or was it like kind of up to date and then go forward?
Well, I picked up the guitar when I was about 12 or 13, and Randy Thomas showed me a few chords, and I practiced them a little bit, and I think the first song I ever learned to play was an Elton John song. It's a little bit funny or something. And then later on, I started picking it up, and when I started listening to Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and Guy Clark, one of the best songwriters ever lived, Townes Van Zandt, people like that. And then I was sitting at work one night about 8 years ago, and told my son I was thinking about writing a song about the old party place, the old cement bridge south of town where everybody used to ride around and smoke a little pot and drink a little beer. I never did drink beer, but
so at that point you were pulling from the past, though, really.
I was pulling from past history, and it was a crazy crazy deal.
And so
I
now that you're up to date on your songwriting, do you see it gathering moss, or do you feel it's gathering like leaves on the tree and branching out all over the world?
Oh no, it's definitely at a standstill. It's. I couldn't think of anything. I think of it, but I can't remember it.
Well, I mean, your
Yesterday.
songwriting abilities, when the Shades of Black and Green is a pretty good song. And the
Yeah.
Empty Houses,
Well, when darkness
so it
comes and
seemed to have
everything's a
progressed.
shade of black and green. You
Yeah.
know. And that Empty Houses song, that turned out to be a good song. I remember going and visiting my kinfolks down on the creek, and I look back now, and nobody lives there, and the houses are all broke down, and no windows. So I wrote a song called Empty Houses.
And that was, how many years ago was that?
That was about 4 years ago, I reckon.
And some of your songs have things about, things that are happening nowadays, and like you had some things are from the past, some are mixed in with the nowadays. So it's all taken primarily from personal experiences, because you probably had a woman like this one girl, and she probably nearly gave you a heart attack or something, and
I've been
that's
there
in one.
before.
Yeah, that's one
I've
of your
been there before, and I don't play any cover tunes. I'm not a cover tune guy. I just play what I write. And
I've heard
I
you
can remember the words, and
I heard a recording of a Phil Sampson song. I guess that wouldn't be quite a cover tune, but that would be a friend covering a friend song. Phil Sampson wrote some pretty good songs.
I do a few Phil Sampson songs. One of my favorites is Abraham. Of course, everybody knows I loved him every one. And but yeah, he gave me a CD years ago, and I listened to it and listened to it. Actually, it was a cassette tape.
A cassette tape.
And I listened to it, 90 minutes worth of stuff, and I had every song down, but now I only remember like 2 of them.
Well, some of your songs are quite it tells a story that most people can relate to. You know what I mean? I ain't going back.
Feeling sorry for myself.
Feeling sorry for myself.
A pretty good song.
Everybody goes through that once in a while. You know what I mean?
And
it starts off as a real slow, feeling sorry for, but by the end of the song, it's pretty much rocking. And
but it's still got a little bit of blues connotation in it. Even though we're rapping and ripping and tearing and all kind of stuff, it's still got that blue inside
feel,
feeling, dying.
So country would be like pretty close to blues.
Folk. I don't know what you call this. Small town.
What would you call yourself?
Sandhill. I don't know. There's really no label for my music.
I always thought of it as, kind of a country blues folk feel good about yourself kind of tune, which is bizarre because in your earlier days and you felt intimidated, and now you play with all kinds of musicians, and you just don't seem to care as much now. You're not as intimidated. You know who you are. You know your songs. You don't play cover tunes. Everybody plays, Sweet Home Alabama, Last Dance for Mary Jane, and
I don't even know the words. I see headlights, Rob Me Baby, while somebody do something.
Well, that was down around Copperhead Road, wasn't it?
But yeah, I used to listen to David Allan Coe. I listened to Waylon Jennings. I'm a big Waylon Jennings fan.
Well, who was the push behind your music, do you think? How did that all transpire?
Guy Clark. Most of my songs are pretty much Guy Clark type songs. And most people hadn't heard of Guy Clark, but he wrote Heartbroke. He wrote Desperados, Waiting for a Train. and he wrote all kinds of stuff for the big